Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this celebration of the class of 2021. This is a class that will, for many reasons, forever hold a special place in the heart and the history of the college. For the past 14 months, I've only been able to address a group like this by staring into a camera. So I cannot tell you how nice it is to actually see you all and not have to stare at myself at the top of a Zoom screen. I'm thrilled that we are able to gather safely in person, and I am profoundly grateful for all of the planning and the work that made it possible for us to realize your vision for how we celebrate together today. Words can't fully describe the past year and a half, filled with highs and lows, setbacks and victories. Positivity rates, N95 masks, contact tracing, antigen testing, social distancing, Zoom calls, the chat function, sharing screens, unmuting. These are just some of the terms most of us had never thought much about, if at all, until 14 months ago. Then, almost overnight, we learned a lot about all of them, to keep ourselves and each other safe, to learn, to teach, to meet, to socialize. During this year, many in our community lost loved ones, experienced financial hardship, watched helplessly as others suffered, and grieved as turmoil rocked and continues to rock the nation. And yet, we as a community are making our way through it. And you, as the class of 2021, are making your way through it. You developed and maintained friendships and relationships with people whose faces you rarely saw in person from the nose down. You found ways to remain close to family members, loved ones, and friends you could not embrace. You made the most of virtual instruction, advising, mentorship, advocacy, and activism, and you learned to use online resources to tend to your health and well-being. Now, it takes most of us decades to learn the importance of adaptability, creativity, resilience, and gratitude. The members of the class of 2021 learned the importance of these qualities sooner and more quickly than you would have expected. Know that you will take them with you throughout the rest of your lives. So I'm so grateful that today, in person, we can honor your achievements and your sacrifices and recognize that in this exceptional time, your perseverance, optimism, grit, and unwavering dedication to one another have made our community that much stronger. My remarks this morning will be brief. I will save my speech for our formal commencement ceremony, which will air online a week from today on June 6th. But allow me to spend a minute or two to marvel at all of your efforts, and I mean each of you, students, families, friends, and loved ones, faculty and staff members. In so many ways, today's celebration embodies the best of what this challenging year has brought us. You, our graduating seniors, dedicated yourselves to your academic pursuits from your dorm rooms and living rooms. You demonstrated remarkable creativity as you approached your assignments, your research, and your activities, and you maintained friendships and connections from afar. Perhaps you even forged some new ones. Our faculty members transformed in-person classes to virtual ones and cultivated community in classrooms divided by screens and barriers. We will formally recognize all of our retiring faculty and staff members at the ceremony that will be broadcast next Sunday. For now, I'd just like to take a brief moment to acknowledge the retiring faculty who are joining us here today. Natalie Anderson, the Alexander Griswold Cummins Professor of English Literature, Joy Charlton, Professor of Sociology, Art McGarity, the Henry C. and J. Archer Turner Professor of Engineering, Carol Nakanoff, the Richter Professor of Political Science, Micheline Rice-Maximum, Associate Professor of French, Alan Schneider, Centennial Professor of Psychology, and Farouk Siddiqui, the Isaiah M. Williamson Professor of Civil and Mechanical Engineering. Our staff members supported the educational mission of the college and helped develop critical policies and protocols to protect our community. They hung signs across campus, staffed testing and vaccination sites, and cleaned buildings from top to bottom, to mention just a few seemingly endless tasks. All of you have risen to the occasion. All of you have sacrificed, and we have all spent countless, far too many, hours on Zoom. When the ground shifted beneath our feet, we moved with it. When we stumbled, we picked each other up. As you close this chapter and begin a new one, I want you to carry with you the tremendous achievement of having made it through what I can safely say has been the most unusual year, the most unusual senior year in Swarthmore history. I am proud of you, and I hope you are proud of yourselves. And now I'd like to introduce a special speaker selected by the members of the senior class. Tiara Tillis, come on down. Tiara is a biochemistry major. Tiara is a biochemistry major with a minor in education studies from Houston, Texas. She has served as a campus tour guide, a career peer advisor, and a residential assistant. Tiara is also a Rubin Scholar and a research assistant in the lab of Liz Vallon, the Howard A. Schneiderman Professor of Biology. Through her work in the lab of Assistant Professor Daniela Farah, Tiara was among the student authors on a peer-reviewed paper published in the Federation of American Societies for Experimental Biology journal. Tiara, I now invite you to address your classmates in the class of 2021.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Val Smith, for those amazing remarks. Jesus, I'm really nervous, so bear with me a little bit. I'm honestly really nervous to be giving this speech for a multitude of reasons, but mainly because I am being tasked with summing up 4 years of Swarthmore for all of you in a few short minutes. That feels very daunting and almost impossible. But to be fair, so was graduating Swarthmore. And obviously, if you are listening to me ramble, then we did it. Can y'all believe we actually are sitting here about to receive our diplomas from this institution? If there is one thing you can confidently say, it is that you did that. You beat Swarthmore, and you should be so proud. Even in our caps and gowns, I can't help but still have the lingering feelings of imposter syndrome. If you are anything like me and the friends I've made here, then you have either said or heard the phrase, admissions mistake, once or maybe a couple of 100 times. At one point or another, you have questioned if SWAT is the place for you or if you should be here. I know I spent a lot of time on this campus wondering the same thing. And while I was never able to come to a concrete answer prior to now, I found comfort in knowing I wasn't the only one, and that I had people to laugh and cry about this issue with in my corner, as I hope all of you did as well. As I am writing this speech and speaking to you all, I've come to realize that if we all think or have felt this way, then maybe we are all the best mistakes SWAT ever made. While I am While I'm on the topic of mistakes, I would like to acknowledge that there is nothing like a Swarthmore education to show you that mistakes are inevitable and they hurt. But if you are lucky, you come out on the other end a better person than you were before. Whether that mistake be something as small as in the pre-COVID days, when you would try to throw everything in the trash in one trip, but your cup hits the floor and makes that irritatingly loud banging noise, or forgetting to swat swivel, or even posting an out-of-pocket or offensive comment on the Facebook page, which if any of you were involved in that, I'm sorry in advance. In any case, while these mishaps stung in the moment, each of the mistakes we've made at Swarthmore has made us into the people we are today. I know I've made plenty of mistakes in my time here, and that I'm not the only one. I won't dive into any of those because, growth, we did that already. But I am thankful for the mistakes I've made, the lessons I've learned, and the people that held me accountable and helped me learn through them. As I mentioned at the start, I was really nervous to be writing this speech for you all, for us. This us that even in a small, suffocating bubble that is Swarthmore, we still don't entirely know. If you look in your surrounding area, how many people do you actually know the names of? Maybe you have seen their face in passing, but can you honestly say you know anything about them? I know for a fact that I don't know many of the names or identities in the sea of people I am addressing right now, but that's okay. We all came to Swarthmore and met the people who were meant to impact our lives for the better or for the worse. You may not know the person in front of, behind, or next to you, but collectively we make a family. Some of us just might be like distant cousins or something like that, and that's totally fine. In my time here, I have met some people that I will cherish forever and hope to take with me after this is all said and done. I don't know about y'all, but there is no way I could have done Swarthmore alone, and considering the people I've met here, I wouldn't want to. We may have come to this school for the prestige or academics, but you stay and call this place your home because of the people. Those same people that 4 years ago were strangers to you. But now you call them family, you call them home. When I moved here from Texas, I didn't think I would be able to make it primarily because being home and the love I have there is what kept me sane and made me feel safe. My mom, who I called every day, sometimes multiple times a day, knows that being away from home at first was really hard for me. So I didn't feel like a home for a few months until I met some of my closest friends here. It still blows my mind how a math class, an impromptu trip to McCabe, a random roommate pairing, or bumping into someone in the bathroom during a PACES party can lead to some of the fondest relationships. I'm sure we all have interesting stories of how we met our rocks at this campus, and that is one of the beautiful treasures of Swarthmore College. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I saying Swarthmore College is perfect or magical, because it's not. Like, not even close. But even though it isn't perfect, it is our school, whether we choose to claim it after this point or not. We make Swarthmore the place it is, and the relationships we make here are what make the Swarthmore experience exciting, challenging, draining, but most importantly, full of love. Due to COVID, I think more than ever, we have come to appreciate the 2-week rotations of Sharple's food, the fun SEC employees, the late nights in the libraries with our friends, and the list goes on. This place is dumb hard, academically, mentally, and emotionally, but I know I will miss so much of what makes SWAT, and that includes all of you. As the class of 2021, we have seen and experienced a lot of moments that have shaped not only us, but Swarthmore as well. Multiple springs of discontent, cupcake at our first word stock, and a full academic year of COVID education to conclude our time here. It takes a very strong group of people to balance academics and our social lives with events like these happening in the background. But as I've said, we were able to do that and come out on the other side with a diploma, hopefully some lifelong friendships and relationships, great memories filled with love and laughter, and ultimately a better person than we were when we got here. All of that to say, I hope you look back on your time at SWAT and think, this was truly the best mistake of my life. Thank you, class of 2021, and congratulations.
Thank you, Tiara. I can confidently say, as you all sit here today, that none of you were an admissions mistake. And we are proud to call you all members of the Swarthmore community. Next, we will hear a special performance by Grace Dumdaw. Grace, please make your way to the stage. A native of Mandeville, Louisiana, Grace graduates today with a Bachelor of Arts major in Peace and Conflict Studies and a special major in Stage, Screen, and New Media. She's president of the a cappella group Offbeat. She's participated in the Cinema Club and Drama Board, and she was a member of our intramural ice hockey team. Grace will now perform the song Landslide, accompanied by Marcos Castro of the class of 2022.
Took my love and I took it down. Climbed the mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Took my love and I took it down. I climbed the mountain and I turned around, and if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, then the landslide will bring you down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, then the landslide will bring you down. Oh, the landslide will bring you down.
That was just beautiful, Grace and Marcos. Thank you so much. Next, on behalf of the faculty and by invitation of the class of 2021, we will hear from Associate Professor of Political Science, Aisha Kaya. Professor Kaya is the co-founder and co-director of Swarthmore's Global Studies Program and currently serves as chair of the Political Science Department. She represents the many faculty members who have dedicated themselves to your intellectual and personal development. Aisha.
Class of 2021. How to say farewell to you after this momentous, heavy, sobering year. Over 590,000 deaths in this country and over 3.5 million worldwide due to the pandemic. As we read about India and see pictures of people cremating their loved ones in public squares, as the conflict in the Middle East once again flares up, as nations are struggling to cooperate over vaccines, as newspapers are running articles about whether humans are about to destroy the planet, and when this country remains wounded in its quest for social justice and equity for those suffering from racism, it is difficult to recap this year. But I am grateful to be here today together. Even though it might not fit our exact imaginations of it, the moment still offers us an opportunity for connection and happiness. On the note of gratitude, I'm truly honored you trusted me with these few minutes. This is a special moment. You're graduating from one of the top institutions in the country, and you're in your 20s. Either one of these suffice for a celebration on their own. So breathe in the moment and let it sit with you for a while. I was told that my last commencement speech back in 2014 was unexpected and surprising to some, because as an international relations professor, the wager was on me to talk about subjects such as war, tariffs on important goods, and whether the international liberal order will survive. Instead, in that speech, I talked about love. So during this speech, I wanted to pick one of those themes, and I decided to go with the prospects for the international liberal order. I'm joking. It's a Sunday morning. You're exhausted from the semester and from this week's celebrations. By the way, I'm really funny in Turkish. I am, yeah. In all seriousness, though, I want to answer a quintessential Swarthmore question that a member of your cohort asked me. I quote, "As an adult who lives in the real world, what things became more important to you after college that you wouldn't have expected as a college student?" Unquote. I love this question, and I would like to offer 4 observations in an attempt to respond. I don't want you to think that I'm capable of following my own advice well, or consistently, or even at all. Hence, these are just my observations. Observation 1. As wonderful as the great achievements of our life taste, happiness lies in being able to draw satisfaction from the smaller moments. When I was much younger, I equated happiness with grand moments. As I've grown older, I understand happiness as being able to enjoy the small moments. It is being outside and looking up to the sky and seeing the leaves dance before a storm. It is about having a wonderful conversation with an old friend. It is about seeing a stranger doing an act of kindness. It is about blasting one of your favorite songs with the windows rolled down on a road trip. I do not deny that you might need some big moments, like this very one, to get you to the small ones. But happiness lies in being able to capture the specialness of a completely mundane-seeming moment and being grateful for life. Observation number 2. Being loyal to your values and ideas is important, but being open-minded is also crucial. As you enter the quote-unquote real world, one of the things you may find difficult is balancing being intellectually open-minded and nimble with non-neutrality. Being objective without being neutral can be an incredibly challenging task at sometimes. We cannot, for instance, expect it to be neutral in the face of human rights violations or democratic backsliding or systemic injustice. I'm not suggesting that it's straightforward to channel that non-neutrality into meaningful action. There might also be moments when objectivity is not meaningful. In the face of mass atrocities, for instance, objectivity does not have as much value as non-neutrality. But in normal day-to-day interactions, without compromising our ethics and values in the name of neutrality, how can we, in most of our interactions, nonetheless be objective and open-minded? Philosopher Kwame Anthony Appiah helps us with this question. I quote from him, quote, "You're asking us, the skeptic says, to care about all human beings, but we care only about people with whom we share an identity, national, familiar, religious, or the like. And those identities get their psychological energy from the fact that to every in-group, there's an out-group. Loving America has in part to be about hating, or anyway, disliking America's enemies. And the trouble with humanity as an identity is that there's no out-group to generate the binding energy that every in-group needs." Unquote. Appiah goes on to explain that, quote, "The force of the objection is not that we can't take a moral interest in strangers, but that interest is bound to be abstract, lacking in the warmth and power that comes from shared identity." Unquote. In overcoming this problem of the abstract human being, Appiah goes on to suggest that we need to learn about others to transform them from being abstract beings to real individuals. When we do so, we turn imaginary strangers into real human beings. And even if we end up not liking them, we can still try to make sense of them. Don't give up on your values, but be as open-minded as possible. To be able to do so, you might need to converse with those who you know you will disagree with, and communicate with those who will not always endorse your actions and thinking. Observation number 3, time is unexpected. It goes faster when you want it slower, and slower when you want it faster. At your age, I reasonably expected good and bad things, but they have rarely come in the form I envisioned they would. That's the problem with challenges. They come in forms you don't expect. You expect the difficulties of being a minority, for instance. You foresee the lifelong difficulty of being an immigrant. You expect the difficulty of raising kids in a competitive world where you prioritize kindness, but also want them to succeed, so you push them to be competitive. You expect to run out of time for some things and have ample time for others. But life makes you run out of time when you don't expect it and asks you to wait long hours when you least want to. At this moment, you may be restless to go grab the next phase of your life, especially after a difficult year like this. In all likelihood, because I'm a social scientist, I can in good conscience say, I assure you, so in all likelihood, you have plenty of time, not just to choose your path, but also to change it. When things get really tough, remember these 2 lines the Turkish poet Nazım Hikmet wrote from his prison cell due to political persecution. Quote, "It's this way. Being captured is beside the point. The point is not to surrender." Unquote. Observation number 4. Motivation comes from within, but inspiration comes from the outside. I think here Swarthmore students really stand out. You're way ahead of us. You're way ahead of many of us here. You're good at finding the inspiration to keep bridging over gaps in our systems. Production, consumption, and goal-seeking, which remain only individualistic, create literal and emotional waste. You are naturally inclined to know we need to marry our quest for individual recognition, acceptance, and equality with larger goals that transcend our individual moments, our particular societies, and even our lifespans. These thoughts took me to a poem by Mary Oliver, from which I will read selectively. You can die for it, an idea or the world. People have done so brilliantly, letting their small bodies be bound to the stake, creating an unforgettable flurry of light. But this morning, climbing the familiar hills in the familiar fabric of dawn, I thought how the sun blazes for everyone as it rises under the lashes of my own eyes. And I thought, I am so many. What is my name? What is the name of the deep breath I would take over and over for all of us? unquote. Class of 2021, you are now guardians and custodians of this institution and no longer its students. Remember the kind of institution you want others to inherit from your efforts. Take small opportunities, such as talking to a prospective student, to tell them about this place, but use that opportunity to make it even stronger. See this institution lovingly, but not unrealistically. Remember its wonderful moments, but also its imperfections and shortcomings, and do what you're good at doing, making it better. I know you will be great in the real world, just as you were in this one. Wishing you the best for the next phase of your life. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Aisha, for your inspiring message. And thank you to all of our faculty members in attendance today. Our faculty are over to my left. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. So we want to thank all of our faculty members who are in attendance today, as well as those who could not be here, for all you have done for the members of the class of 2021 to help them successfully conclude their time here at Swarthmore. So now, members of the class of 2021, it's your time, it's your turn to take the stage. For those of you familiar with past commencements, this will be a bit different. Ushers will begin now to help you make your way to the stage row by row. You can begin lining up over here on your right, my left, to cross the stage as Provost and Dean of the Faculty, Sarah Willie LeBreton, reads your name.
And one final note, please grab your name card and bring it with you. If your name card is not there or is illegible, Dean Ray will have a copy for you.
Bashar Abu Ain. Amachi Ikechukwu Abua. Ellen Margaret Adams. Amena Samantha Ade. Kelvin Pa Kwesi Ajay. Jisoo An. Christian Andres Alfaro de la Rosa. Christopher Castrellon Alvarado. Matthew Eric Anderson. Chioma Enodmachi. Kavya Venkat Erakoni. Ryan Arazi. Tiang Andre Aung. Christine Ayo. Natalie Samantha Balbuena. Julian Bueno. JJ Balasunyuka Smith. Alexandra Nina Barada. Lux Kreider Barton. Hannah Elizabeth Bartoszewski. David Bauman. Faith Becker. Matthew Becker. William Bine. Dana Biseso. Ananya Bhattacharya. Thomas Andrew Blakelock. Julia Isabel Botkin. Yusuf Buhadiba. Madison Bowe. Jenna Grace Bowman. Emily Nicole Branham. Gabrielle Brossi de Dios. Paul Frederick Buchanan. David Buckley. Ismail Khan. Kala Kanadi. Catherine Elizabeth Capicella. Mia Ann Capizzoli. Louisa Carmen. Heyun Che. Jake Channinson. Stephen Francisco Castro. It's okay. Franz Christopher Alanis Chi. Elena Lorenz Chen. Mina Arathi Chen. Richard Chen. Andy Cheng. Casita Lim Cheng. Noah Curran Cheng. Talbot Michael Child. Kevin Choi. Veronica Angeline Chua. Dylan Thomas Claremont. Jacob Clark. Soraya Renee Cochran. Eliezer Grissom Cohen. Rivka Oren Cohen. Charles Hodson Cole. Skylar Hart Cornell. Esther Couch. Reka Crawford. Daniel Curtis. George D. Curtis. Leah Rose D'Alessandro. Zaina Yasmin Dana. Hope Elizabeth Darris. Vito Leopoldo Diangia dos Anjos. Maria Consuelo de Dios. Lucy Decker. Kajato Jallo. Francis McCall Dillon. Bria Morgan Dinkins. Shelby Dulch. Madison Dorr. Grace Kum Dumda. Scott Eberly. Francis Eddie Harvey. Samantha Ann Ehlers. Dawson Walter Epstein. Ilana Marion Bensusan Epstein. Andrew Joseph Estella. Nuseba Estes. Charles Mason Evarts. Isabel Grace Catterbrand Ewart. Alec Ferry. Kelly Fink. Alexander Scott Flowers. Peter Fago. Julia Catherine Ford. Mackenzie Ann Frost. Sorry, the car distracted me. No, that's quite all right. Alexander William Galarraga. Jonathan Galvan. Devin Neen Gabe. Ruben Gelly Newman. Josh Gazelowitz. Alessandro Blessing Getzel. Ricardo Gonzalez. Adina Gordon. Michael Gross. Jonathan Geider. Anna Ham. William Hahn. Zia Headley. Leah Harris Harrell. Catherine Claire Heffertepe. Fiorenza Amanda Maria Herrera Diaz. Aaron Hirsch. Nicholas Herschel Burns. Lauren Holt. Dana Homer. Stephen Hergenroder. Sharon Hu. Balara Ann Sukta Wang. Kieran Wong. Kevin Dykey Hudson. Helen Jacqueline Ha. Jung Jiun. Lauren Elizabeth James. Cameron Johnson. Jana Catherine Jones. Nora Maeve Joyce. Nicole Distinto. Okay. Vinay Reed Keefe. Mimoka Kecho. Ryan Izquierdo. Adara Ana Obueno Kaufman Okoko. Jamal Ali Khan. William Khan. Ina Kimbrough. Elizabeth King. Derek Kinsella. Hannah Rain Klutzer. Adriana Knight. Ainsley Victoria Clark Knox. Cindy Lee. Sarah Lane. Excuse me. Ravish Rakesh Kul. John Lathrop. Avi Lia Young. Carol Gisun Lee. Eleanor Lee. Hayan Kyan Lee. Noah Lee. Sophia Lee. Sarah Brigine Leonard. Christy Little. Kevin Lau. Christopher Edward Lasitra. Ari Adler Liloya. Yun Yung Lee Yu. Audi de Jesus Lopez. Matthew Luker. Tony Liao Arkung. Zach Lytle. Arjun Singh Madon. Mika Mayanaga. Shawnee Patrice Mahotier. Lemya Emily Mahar. Nadia Mansour. Diego Marcano. Samantha Ann Martin. Richard Francesco Maimon Maria Masari. Temba Mateki. Patrick Robert McAnally. Sorry. Patrick Robert McAnally. Abigail Rose McFarland. Lilia Isabel McGee Harris. Keegan Benham McKenna. Kieran McKenna. Gerald Michael McManus. Olivia Christine McManus. Matiwa Smabratu. Pei May. David Amadeus Mello. Richmond Kobina Mensa. Alec Menzer. Adam Gregory Mermelstein. Clayton Meyer. Zane Meyer. Bryce Mick. Grayson Joseph Mick. Susanna Midla. Elizabeth Renee Miller. Emma Lee Miller. Catherine Moore. Sierra Mondragon. Elena Bernadette Moore. Oswaldo Morales Solazerno. Pemfo Ellen Moyo. Declan Murphy. Paul Donovan Alexander Murray. Nejla Nasser. Alyssa Corrine Nathan. Faith Ashley Nation. Edna Amarelli Olvera. Sumi Onoe. Julia Mary Ostrowski. Victoria Darlene Overbeck. Yusha Parcella.
He replaced his name. Say it that way, he says.
Max Park. Naomi June Park. Trina Rani Paul. Sally Yu Peng. Malia McKay Peterson. Catherine Elizabeth Phillips. Lucas Pietrantonio. Ethan Ping. Nathan Asher Piddock. Rebecca Leah Posner Hess. Lillian Maria Posta. William Maurice Potts. Christian Loren Precise. Danielle Quintans. Judah Brennan Robb. Miriam Ramirez. Herbie Rand. Alexandria Rinsing. Emma Gianna Ricci DeLuca. Jean-Baptiste Robert. Sarah Murphy Roberts. Daniel Alfonso Rodriguez. Josephine Florence Ross. Danielle Christine Rossetti dos Santos. Francesca Danielle Rothel. Samuel Joseph Rothstein. George Roman Rubin. Alexandra Talia Rugg. Matthew Joseph Salah.
Okay, we got one out of order.
Nana Kwakyi. Alejandra de Jesus Sanchez Herb. Valentin Sanchez Uzna. Rebecca G. Sanders. Jaydeep Sangha. Isaac Bar Satz. Michael Anthony Salvaggio. Shanna Shaw. Samuel Shepard. Mia Elizabeth Shoquist. Excuse me, sorry. Raymond Joseph Sutterly Seidner.
No, Juan Moncia is here. The card I gave you is here.
Okay.
Yes.
Tuan Shaw.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. Anjali Singapore. Dottie Savannah Smith. Lauren Smith. Sarah Madison Smith. Parker Snipes. Aaron Page Snoddy. Justin David Snyder. Madison Alexandra Snyder. C-Ray Song. Timothy St. Pierre. Christina Brielle Stalvik. Eric Stefan Stankowski. Sophia Hero Stills.
Congratulations.
Megan Fox Straken. Elise Ann Talley. My hands are so cold. Grace Elmsley Taylor. Helena Tebow. Oliver Tenenbaum. Veronica Testi Melgarejo. Skylar Toma. Terrence Andrew Thomas Jr. Allison Josephine Thrasher. Tierra Duche Tillis. Marie Gilliam Tilson. Kendall Tribu. Bingzin Tu. Cameron Renee Toomey. Eveline Van Gelderen. Nareen Vapuryan. Tibal Charles Vernier. Kayla Vieira. Matthew Lawson Villeneuve.
Okay, the name's on the bottom of it.
Julia Bayless Gray Wagner. Samantha Blair Wagner. Iris Aining Wang.
How do you say your first name? Moog?
Mooj Luke Wang. Tiffany Elizabeth Wang. Madeline Claire Ward. Hannah Miriam Watkins. Yi Wei. Sarah Joy Wheaton. Henry Briggs Wilson. Corinne Wallenick. Jason Takashi Wong.
I think you're at the next page.
Dominic Chi Cother Woodward. Unhao Eddie Wu.
First one out of order.
Okay. Lija Guo. Yawen Effie Xiao. Sam Yan. Sinray Jessica Yang. Ariana Yet. Jihye Yoon. Abigail Jimena Young. Raymond Alexander Youngblood. Adora Jong. Ethan Zhao. Andrew Zhu.
Okay, we have a bunch out of order.
Console Hitayuz.
How do you say your last name?
Juliette Narame. Maya Kai Zimmerman. Maria Fernanda Sampaio Ferreira. Jillian Dory Newziborski. That's it.
Super.
I want to thank you all once again for joining us here today for this extraordinary celebration. I hope you are all able to view the virtual commencement ceremonies next weekend to honor the achievements of these incredible seniors and witness them as they officially close an important chapter in their lives. And now, once again, please join me in congratulating the great and resilient class of 2021. Thank you. Okay, so you are released, adjourned, whatever. Thank you all so much.